On this video, I am breaking down the personal limiting beliefs that might be holding you back and being a part of your story that do not serve you and do not need to stay there, and how to shift out of them and create the more empowering beliefs that are going to allow you to not only show up in a better light, but also just attract and be and vibe with what it is you truly desire. Welcome back to another video. My name is Kara Michelle. I am here to help you live your truth. And today's video carries over from what I was talking about on a previous video, breaking down the limiting story that you are telling yourself. So if you haven't already watched that video, click up here, check it out first. It's going to kind of give you the backstory. And then now we're going to get into the personal story. So the biggest misconception, biggest limiting belief that affects people in all areas of their lives is the I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And obviously this can be applied to work, relationships, personal goals, finances. Like, it can be related to anything, and it really hinders people, because as long as you believe you're not good enough for something, you're basically blocking yourself off from receiving it, because you're saying I'm not worthy. So even if it tries to enter your life, you're going to self-sabotage, you're going to end up kind of like pushing it away, whatever the case may be. You're not going to end up actually receiving and accepting it into your life and into your vortex or your energy field or whatever, your experience, because you're believing you're not worthy and deserving of it. So if you're someone who says this a lot of times, this is something I used to struggle with a ton, and it comes down to personal unworthiness. And it doesn't matter what appears in your external world, because this is the thing, okay? Let's get real. When you are looking for external things to solve your problems or to deem you worthy, to make you enough, right? You're depending on something that you cannot control. You are depending on something you cannot control to dictate your worth. This is horrible, because you can't control it. You might not have it. You might not ever have it. So say you're looking for a partner to make you feel whole and make you feel loved. Well, you can't control that you're going to find a partner, let alone the right partner, let alone someone who matches that and completes you that way. You need to find it first. You cannot say, I want to hit a certain income goal. That's going to make me worthy. That's going to prove that I'm good at my job, that I'm successful, right? That's going to make me feel good. Well, you're basing your worth on an external factor, when ultimately nothing actually changes when you hit these outer goals, because it still comes down to who you are internally. And this is why so many people with all the money in the world or everything that looks good on paper, they're still unhappy. And it's because they haven't done this inner work. They haven't learned how to heal and realize that their self-worth comes from within versus without. Society tricks us this way, because pretty much all of us have grown up thinking that you need to achieve, do, you need to be something, be someone, achieve something to be good enough. And this is what deems you worthy. This is what means you finally made it in life, right? But like, the thing is like, when you get there and you've made it, you're going to be sitting there going like, well, now what? I don't really feel any different. And like, what's the next level now? I guess I need to keep going to the next level. But you're still not really satisfied, because you haven't found your inner worth and this connection to who you are, and the fact that like, you have been worthy your whole life. You've always been worthy. You've always been good enough. You just haven't believed it. So take that away from this video, please. And another belief that can be really limiting and keeps you attracting more negative things is bad things always happen to me. So both of these are things I got stuck in. I mean, for years and years, I was like an A+ student. I worked really hard. I was really good in school. But I still didn't think I was smart enough. I wasn't good enough, because I'd look at my friends and maybe they did a tiny bit better than me, or they were better in a subject that I struggled in. So, well, I'm not good enough. And I measured myself on these goals around other people and put them on pedestals. My brother was my absolute idol, And I mean, he wasn't perfect, but in my eyes, he was. And so I never thought I could measure up. I always felt like I was lesser than, like, my parents didn't really love me as much as they loved him. That, like, no matter how well I did in school or how well I did in sports, I didn't feel like I didn't feel like I could ever match how good he was, because in my eyes, he was just like a star, you know? And this is the kind of mindset and mentality and the limiting beliefs that then keep us struggling and keep us stuck. And like, even when I had a university volleyball scholarship, I still didn't really think I was good enough. And there were so many stories, so many excuses, and old beliefs that came through in my mindset that were reminding me all the time of why I wasn't good enough. And that led to a lot of anxiety, a lot of insecurities, and a lot of extreme pressure that I was putting on myself. And I continued to look for external validation, which, as I mentioned, isn't ideal, because I would look for it from coaches. I'd be just like needing and craving a coach to say, "Hey, Kara, you did a really great job today." And like, I never got it. So then I always felt even worse about myself. I felt like a failure. There was this one time we had just lost a game, and like, I was a key player on my team without like, I mean, it's not cocky, it's true. I was a key player, and we lost this game to a team who was like way above us, but like, we had such a good match and fought so hard and like had lots to be proud about, even though we lost. I remember in the change room after the game, the coach literally listed off every single player who was on the court and was like, "Hey, so-and-so, you know, you did really great doing this," or like, "Oh, that play was amazing," or like, "We're really proud of you for that." Literally every single person except for me. And I was like the only one who was on the court the whole time and allowed the plays to happen and like kept us in the game, and like, there wasn't even like, "Hey, Kara, good job too." It was like, I just got totally passed over. So because of my current limiting story and limiting beliefs, I left that team room crushed. I was just crying. I felt horrible. I thought like, "Oh my gosh, you know, if they think so little of me, why didn't they just pull me off? Like, why was I even on the court?" And I just continued to tell and fuel this limiting story of unworthiness, of not enoughness. And like, even after talking to other people, like old coaches, even the opposing team coaches, people who were like, "Oh, you know, like, you played really well, blah, blah, blah." I couldn't see it, hear it, or believe it because of my limiting story. So the thing is like, no matter what you get from the external world, if your internal world and your internal beliefs don't match it, those tend to trump what you get around you. So it's really, really important to become aware of this and realize how your own story is limiting you, keeping you stuck. And now this took time, and this took a ton of awareness for me to realize, wow. And it's accountability, because we don't usually like to look at ourselves as the problem. I blamed other people for years, and I said, well, if they'd have just given me some recognition, or if this coach had just given me a compliment, or if that coach or teacher had said good job, you know, I would have felt better. But really, I still wouldn't have, because internally I still had this big hole and this big unworthiness that kept me feeling the way I was feeling. So the blame game doesn't really work. Now, the beliefs we obviously want to switch to, okay, I'm more than enough. Everything is always working out for me. You are enough for being alive. You are enough for breathing. You are enough right now because you are a divine creation from God, source, universe, whatever higher power you believe in. Like, that makes you enough. And again, a lot of times we look for something on paper or some kind of accolade or achievement to tell us that we're enough. But like, you're enough right now. Wherever you're at in your life, doesn't matter how heavy things are, doesn't matter what struggles or insecurities you have, you are enough. And I hope you can realize that, and I hope you can take this video and use that to push yourself forward into telling yourself a new story and starting to see your worth in just who you are as a human being, okay? So you are already enough. And then if you can switch to, instead of saying bad things always happen to me, if you can start going, everything is always working out for me, that's going to change like everything in your life as well, because it keeps you from being in like the pessimistic, negative area of like focusing on all the things that are wrong. And you know, when you stub your toe and then you wake up in the wrong side of the bed, you stub your toe, then you're late for work, and then all these things snowball on top of each other, and then you're like, well, it's just bad things always happen to me, right? And like, oh, that's just my luck. Well, no, stop reaffirming that and stop telling the same story that this is who you are, right? So you want to create these new beliefs that everything's always working out for me to keep you positively focused and pushing forward, finding the silver lining in situations. And this was another really big one for me to learn. And again, I'm not saying that you're going to watch this video and it's going to happen overnight. It takes time. It takes a lot of consistency and practice. But if you can like sit here, watch this video, take what I'm saying and like kind of absorb it a little bit into yourself and into your life and go, wow, okay, like if I can make these changes, I wonder what will happen for me. If you can just trust and do that, like everything in your life can change for you. And I was someone who always said bad things happen to me. Especially in my darkest days, like when I was going through a lot of heavy trauma, when Derek, my brother, passed away, and then I was sexually assaulted, and then I flipped my car and rolled 4 times on the highway, and like I was deep in this despair and this darkness, and I was like, of course it happens to me, because bad things always happen to me. And like anything else that went wrong, I would just be like, well, yeah, add that to the list, right? Like there's another thing. And I just kind of like sometimes victim mindset, sometimes just trying to laugh it off and kind of push it aside, right? But I was believing that all these bad things were like happening to me, that I couldn't control them, that I was the victim in the situation. And that's a very disempowering place to put yourself. And it continues to fuel appear the unworthiness. The more you believe that, the more you believe you're unworthy of anything better. So over time, again, it didn't happen right when I was in the darkest depths, because you know, you have to process those emotions. You have to honor and release the trauma, the grief, the pain. Those things are there for a reason, and bottling it up, ignoring it, pretending to like tie a bow and ribbon and pretending it's all rainbows and butterflies isn't actually going to solve it. So I'm definitely not saying that. I did the frickin' work to release those things, to overcome the pain and the trauma on an energetic and an emotional and a mental and a physical level to move forward. But it was through doing that work that then I was starting to see, you know what? Everything is always working out for me. And I truly, wholeheartedly believe that now. And that's a beautiful affirmation that Abraham Hicks always talks about. Everything is always working out for me. And I started seeing this in my own life when I realized that all of the pain and all of the struggles I went through actually did teach me a lot. They made me a lot stronger. They allowed me to become a coach. They allowed me to then empower other women around the world and do things that like I had always dreamed of, making this difference and coaching and helping people, but I never really knew how. And quite honestly, it's through my trauma and it's through all the extreme experiences that I had that forced me to learn, to break out of all of my limiting beliefs and my story, right? It forced me to grow and evolve. And it's from that then I can now share that knowledge with other women and other people here and say, look, it doesn't have to be this way. You have so much more power than you know. Let me help you. And it's through the trauma and through all the struggles that I was able to create a 90-day program that helps people around the world go from anxiety, pain, trauma, limiting beliefs, you know, really old negative stories, and start traveling the world, launching their dream businesses, getting promoted at work, getting their dream jobs, meeting their soulmates, all these amazing things in 90 days because I did all of this work. I worked through the struggles, I reframed everything, and I learned so much and condensed it into a 90-day program. So I'm in a place now where I can be very grateful for this struggle because I wouldn't be here where I am today without it. And I think this is what comes from this mindset shift of going, everything is always working out for me, because whether you're in a really negative relationship or you just left a negative relationship, whether you're struggling financially, whether you are in a job you don't really like and you're not sure what to do next, or you're stressed, or you've got health issues, or you've got other pressures and things going on in your life, whatever's going on for you, if you can spin it and find the lesson and find the catalyst for change and bring about the understanding of what it's teaching you and how it's guiding you to become a better person, if you can do that, you're golden. You're going to be able to tackle no matter what comes your way, and you're going to show up in a more positive light each day. You're going to feel better. Because I want you to say this right now out loud or in your head, I guess, if you're in public, but say, bad things always happen to me. Bad things always happen to me. It's not very, feel the energy that comes with you when you say that. For me, it's just ugh, I just don't feel good. And then if I were to say, and you can say it too, everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. That's empowered. That's the energy and the belief of strength. That's courageous. That's ready to take on whatever comes your way. That's warrior mentality. And that's the kind of energy and belief system you want to create to handle anything that comes your way in life, because we all know we can't control the things that go on. We don't have the power to dictate everything that's going to come our way, but all we can do is control the way we handle it and how we show up. So if you can stop your limiting story, create a positive one, and start to shift out of this place, then you're going to be in a way better position to handle and navigate no matter what comes your way. And if you haven't already, make sure you watch the mindset video, the free mindset training down below, because this is crucial. And I also share my 3-step process inside my 90-day program that I talked about earlier, and how this specific process is what actually allows you to make life-changing shifts. Because I've seen so many people try it. This video makes it sound like it's just positive affirmations. Instead of saying something negative, just throw a positive affirmation in there and life will be great. That's not how it works. There's a lot of underlying work that comes into play here. And I share the 3-step process with you inside this free mindset training. And I also share why it's so important to do this in these 3 steps, because again, you can throw spaghetti at the wall and hope that it sticks, and maybe something will stick a little bit and you'll notice some benefits and you'll feel a little bit better from saying everything's always working out for me. But as you do more of the deeper work in releasing and healing your old story, your old identity, and your old belief system, and throwing that away, literally getting rid of it and creating a new one from the root all the way up, then you're going to notice the big transformation and the real deal. So make sure you check out the free mindset training to learn how to do that and how I teach people that in the 3-step process. That is linked down below. If you haven't, please hit the thumbs up, please subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.